In this video, we're going to look at some of the core style guidelines for building pages on Snowball Express. This is an early version of the homepage, which will be built as part of the system of videos. And the thing we're interested in today is this over here, the chairman's blog on the right. This is a small block intended to be attractive and eye-catching on the front page. It has a link in it. Read Roy White's blog, which links off to, not surprisingly, his blog. All links, by the way, display in red automatically. It has a snow background, which may be difficult to see in this video. It's designed deliberately not to be too intrusive. A red outline and a red title with white text on it. This is one of several options that we have for how we lay out blocks. This, for example, is another option with a plain white background and blue text at the top. In order to change from one of these looks to another, what we need to do is switch into edit mode. So I'll do that now, and you'll see initially that the look goes strange. You'll notice there's a gap now between the title and the main body of our block. That's to allow room for this. This is a toolbar that we can use, for example, to delete or change things, edit content, move it around the page. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to click on this link down here, Settings. This takes us into various things that we can configure about the module. And the thing that we're particularly interested in configuring is in the page settings, and it's the module container. You can see at the moment it highlights Snowball, red header, snow background. That means we have the red header with the white text, and then we have a snow background effect behind the text. Let's go to the very simplest form. The very simplest form is one that you should not use, and that is form header, no title. If I update to that, you'll see immediately the title is missing. If I go to view mode, you'll see that even more clearly. The reason we have this form option is so that we can use it as the background, for example, to the tell a friend form. This is using that form header. It's not designed for use with ordinary blocks or ordinary sections, which should have a title. So let's go back into edit mode and change to one of the more sensible options. Now, the simplest option that's worth using is to use plain text with a white background. If I open up the page settings again, and we go to text header, white background, the very bottom option, and we update to that, and you will see that the block now displays in the same way, if I go to view mode a bit more clear, the same way as the main text over here. These look and feels might be tweaked slightly for when we go live. There might be minor changes, but the principles of what I'm showing you should not change. So let's go back into edit mode and explore some of the other options. If we look at the blue options, the red options are the same as the blue, they're just red. Okay. So if I open up page settings, let's go through the various options. We have blue icon header, white background, blue icon header, snow background, blue header, white background, and blue header, snow background. The simplest are the ones without the icons. So let's go for blue header, white background. If I update that, and again I'll go into view mode so you see it properly, here we have a simple block without any snow background, blue outlining, blue title. Let's look at the difference it makes to add the snow background to that. Open up page settings, find the module container, and this time blue header, snow background. And I'll update that. And again, I'll go into view mode. And now you can see exactly the same thing, but with this kind of greyish watermark, which is images of snowflakes underneath the text, just to make it stand out a little bit more. The next step up in complexity is to go for an icon. And to show you what that means, we'll go in, and there are two options. There is a icon with a white background, an icon with a snow background. Since we're already using snow, I'll stick with snow, and let's go for a blue icon header, snow background. And now if we update that, and go into view mode, you can see the change is we have this snow. But we also have a problem. Look, the text no longer fits. When you're using the icon header, because of the things required to make it do this, you have to keep your titles small. So we could call this blog, and it would work perfectly well with an icon, but not Chairman's blog. When you're going to use an icon, you must check that that works. We can just change that text here. If we go into edit mode, we could make that, for example, Roy's blog. And now if we save that and go into view mode, you can see that then works perfectly well. So be aware of this. Always check when you've used one of these headers that it is displaying in the way that you intended it to. Second tip, however, is that really we shouldn't be using the snow icon this close to the top. This gap works perfectly well when it's underneath, and the gap between blocks doesn't work so well at the top. It looks slightly odd. So we'll in fact go back, go into our settings again, and this time we'll revert to red since we want a bit of color on the page, not so much blue. And this time we will go for a simple red header with the snow background, which is where we began. And just to complete, I will revert Roy's blog back to Chairman's blog, since we now have the space for it, and I'll go back into view mode. And I think that's the best of the blocks. Of course, if you disagree, you're welcome to do differently on the pages that you create. Thank you for listening to this first style guide. We'll discuss other aspects of the style of the site and how to build pages over subsequent videos.